Here we are.
Yippee. I'm going to video us videoing ourselves before people start getting on. Yeah, exactly.
I have this like crazy curl over here. I parted my hair this way and then I flipped it, so now I got weird curls going on.
That's what happens with my like whole right ear section most of the time.
Yeah.
So my hair has been through the gym today and a massage. So
it's looking pretty good for all that, to be quite honest.
Thank you.
Hi Bree, how are you?
Hi.
This is Jamie. We're gonna hang out for a few minutes and let some people join.
Exciting. So yeah, I was like, should I recurl my hair? I'm like, forget it.
Right.
I'm not gonna do it.
I almost came with a messy bun. I'm like, maybe I should do something. This is going to be in there for a while for people to see.
Yay. As you guys are jumping on,
Stacey.
say hi and let us know if you can hear us okay.
Yeah. Can everybody hear us, see us, all that? Hey, Sarah. We got a little doggy down here wanting up. She's wanting to say
She can say hi for a second.
This is Bonnie. This is Bonnie. She's going to be real mad when I put her down now.
She's famous. For real.
We got a little doggy down here wanting up.
She's famous.
Okay, she's going now. Hey, Jessica.
Hi, guys.
All right, sorry, Bonnie. I was kind of mean.
No, you're fine. Don't worry. If she comes to live events with me and shit, hangs out, she's the coolest. I'm excited.
I am too.
It's so funny, the beginning of these live streams, it's like literally been a minute, like 1 minute, and it feels like it's been forever.
Yeah.
So I always feel like we're waiting for so long, I feel
Yeah.
bad. But it's not even been long enough.
For people to join. Yeah, somebody
Yeah.
say something. Let us know you're here. Let us know if you have any questions that you want addressed, because I have a whole lot of them. I have a front and a back. Some of them are from me, some of them are from you guys, and I'm just really excited about this.
They're saying stuff, we just can't
why
see
can't
it.
we see it?
I don't know.
Let's see.
That's weird.
Hold on. Let's see.
See, you guys are following instructions and crap, and we're not even.
We're not.
I think you have to. Is it this way? No, we turned
Quiet
it
mode
on.
turn on. How?
No, quiet mode turned on because of that. It's just not showing us anything. I don't know what the hell. Well, we can leave my phone up.
So we can see the comments.
Yeah, or I can open my computer. Actually, it'd probably be easier.
Okay.
So we can do that really quick.
Okay. We're going to do that so we can see your comments, because for some reason it's not showing up.
Because
Let's
Facebook
see.
Live hates me.
Yeah, it's your house. I never have this problem.
Yeah, just blame it all on me. That's fine.
Hi, Angie.
Bonnie, get down. Go. Come here.
We can hear you. You both look beautiful. Thanks, Amy.
Oh, you're awesome.
Cool.
Bonnie, come here, Mama. Seriously, stop. Got a little doggy trying to jump into the world here. She's mad now. All right, sweet. Let me turn the sound off here. Awesome, awesome. So we're going to have the sound pulled up here. Or not the sound pulled up, Jesus Christ. We're going to have the video pulled up here, and then just if you guys ask questions, just give us a minute because it'll probably be a little bit of a lag.
Yeah.
But basically, the cool thing is we have lists of questions, but if there's anything that you guys think of, type it in, and we'll get to it as well. So go ahead.
Okay, perfect. I'm going to get started. So I know most of you know me, but some of you don't. So my name is Samantha. I am a stylist. I've been in the industry for 10 years now, and I have, in the last year and a half, just like had this major shift in my mindset, my business, everything. And so I basically went from a paycheck to paycheck hairdresser to doing numbers that I never even dreamed possible in basically like almost overnight. I'm talking a matter of a few weeks. And so I have since started coaching other hairdressers on how to do the same thing. I work privately one-on-one with clients, and how this idea, this is Jamie. Jamie is actually my coach. She's not a hairdresser.
No.
She has she has been a huge part of me making all of these huge changes in my life and in my business. And so when I was giving a class, I was giving a social media class a few weeks ago, and she sat in on it, and one of the questions that was asked spurred her this idea of, hey, I'm your ideal client. How about you interview me, and I can answer all these questions that these stylists are asking, because a lot of the things that I suggest doing in my social media class make people feel uncomfortable who are not used to doing those things. And so there's a lot of fear around it, a lot of uncertainty, and one of the things that I guess came up was, well, I don't want to be annoying to people. And so that was the comment that spurred Jamie to, hey, you should interview me and ask me what I think, because I'm the person I want in your chair. Jamie has extensions. She's the person. She spends thousands of dollars on her extensions. She spends money on her hair. She's a loyal client. She comes every, I don't know, however many weeks her hairstylist tells her to.
Yeah, I think it's like 8 or 9 weeks. Typically.
Yeah.
You've got to keep these roots from looking brown.
Right, but she is meticulous with her extensions. I mean, she sleeps with them in a braid. You have the fusion extensions, and she loses like none of them ever because she takes so meticulous care of them. She'll do whatever you tell her to do, and she'll buy whatever you tell her to buy, basically. So that's why I thought it would be really cool to come on and interview her. So Jamie, if there's anything you want to say before we get started, a little bit about yourself or about your hair, whatever.
Yeah, no, I'm excited because it's cool because it's a rarity where you get the opportunity to ask somebody, like, you're not going to offend me, first of all, with anything that you say. Like, it's almost impossible to offend me. So you can ask anything. I'm going to be super honest with you. And I haven't always had hair extensions. I've had them for about 2 years now. And you can use your finger. This is a real computer.
It's a real computer.
I don't see anything new, but we can, and that's why I went ahead and watched it live.
Perfect.
So I haven't always had extensions. I've had everything from like not super blonde, but really light, lots and lots of highlights, to black, to from short to long, to all kinds of things. Several different stylists. The girl I go to now, I've been going to for like 8 years, probably.
She went to my sister back in high school,
like
back in the day.
Becky used to totally do me and my mom's hair, and she was amazing. And then she moved, and then it just, I don't know. But yeah, and I used to make her crazy because I had like a million foils in my hair back in the day, and I had like 17 colors going on. That was when like the red, blonde, brown thing was like a thing.
I remember.
I was doing that.
I had that too.
And she hated me, but it's fine. So anyway, basically I have experience with spending money to basically get my hair however I want it, and I'm listening to the experts because I'm not an expert. So whatever questions you have, I feel like I kind of have a broad range of answers just because I've done all kinds of stuff with my hair.
Okay, so first question is, what do you think when you see hair posts?
On social media?
Social media, yeah.
I think it's cool. So I'm definitely intrigued. Like I think most women especially like to see like transformations or really pretty hair. I know a lot of like my friends and the women I work with, in like that are coaches like I am and that kind of live their lifestyle similar to me. Like we're always looking for cool new things to do, and we appreciate that style, right? And it's cool to think, oh, how did that happen? There's been several times that I'll see posts and think, ooh, I really like that color, or just appreciate basically that it's cool, or that it looks good, or it looks professional. So I mean, I always pay attention to them, honestly, because I think that it grabs my interest because I obviously care about my own hair. Mm-hmm. So
what catches your eye?
I would say definitely something being a little different, as in, if there's a different shades or different designs, different curls and stuff like that, I definitely notice that a lot. And then it's so weird because I want to look at you, but I want to look at
right. I know. I don't know what to do.
So I'm like,
look at the camera. Let's look at the camera.
Okay,
Let's just do that.
I know. We're not on the news,
right?
So it's so funny. I know we're silly. So I would say more like I obviously notice if you're trying to make it look good, like I notice that, I appreciate that. If it's a good lighting, I personally like to see the dimensions in hair, like because you can't really necessarily tell right now, but I pay money to get extra dimension in my hair, so I appreciate that. Yeah. But so I definitely think it's cool to be able to see the detail. It's nice.
And I think, like, this is me putting my input here, but it's super important to make sure you take the picture in good lighting. Like, if you're taking it in the salon chair where you have no natural lighting and the walls make it look gold and it just looks not shiny and blah, don't even bother posting that, in my opinion. Like,
right.
Well,
because, like, right now, okay, let's be real. So my hair just looks like it's, like, kind of an auburny brown color when it's actually, like, 4 different shades of red, and it has like almost fire
looks totally different
looking color, extent, like she did just the other day. I got it done and I have different streaks through and everything, and it's actually really, there's a lot of dimension going there, but you can't tell in this picture, which kind of sucks, right? Or in this film. So it's really pretty, so being able to capture that in the picture definitely catches my eye for sure.
So one of the comment that spurred this whole thing, when I was giving my class, and I was talking about how, it's super important to make sure you're posting every single day on your social media when you're trying to build your clientele in that realm. Someone said, I don't want to do that because I don't want to seem annoying, and I don't want to be like the MLM posts that are constantly on people's feed and annoying the crap out of people.
Yes, so I can tell you that I have a pretty large online following and like brand existence or whatever, and I get approached by MLMs constantly. It's a lot better now because I've basically made it really clear for them to leave me alone, unless it's like legit can help me. Hey, Jessica. Stacey, I hope that it's not buffering anymore. So one person said it was buffering and someone else said it wasn't. But what I want you to know is definitely when because I have plenty of friends that are hairstylists and post really great quality content, and I notice it, and I can tell you that I notice that, and it's not annoying because I don't feel like you're trying to shove your hairstyle down my throat. You know what I mean? It's like a totally different feel than an MLM, like your typical MLM post.
Because we're not going to try to get you to sign up under us and sell our hair products.
Fact. So, of course, I know somebody actually specifically mentioned Monet, and I mean, I'm not, like, dissing any of these companies at all. There are several people, there are some of them I use all the time. It's just, obviously we know that there's a stigma kind of around the way some people sell it, and even, like, Monet, they're not selling a hair design. Like, they're not selling the fact that what they can do to your hair, cut, color, whatever. They're selling that product. So I can tell you as a consumer, it feels totally different. Those two posts don't even hit the same realm for me. And I've actually, when we talked about that, I actually asked a couple of my friends too, like if they noticed that, and they're like, I don't even think annoying at all when I see those pictures. Instead, I'm just like, oh, that's really cool. I'm like saving them, like screenshotting them and stuff. Yeah.
Okay, you're not going to offend me, but because I give these classes, and obviously I've had a ton of success building my business this way. So me personally, would my posts make you want to try me? Why or why not?
So yeah, absolutely. I actually told you that at one point. I was like, hey, don't think I'm being an asshole, because I like totally am intrigued, but I am like diehard dedicated to Jessie. And she's like, no, I totally get it. Yeah. But no, absolutely. Like, I noticed them long before you and I were working together, and we just were acquaintances, basically. Because you can see the dimensions are different. You're trying different things. You're educating people on it. So definitely, yeah. It would make me want to be like, if I was looking for somebody to do my hair, or I was not happy with where I was going, I 100% would be like, reach out to you or check your website out or whatever.
And I'm going to rabbit trail a little bit off that, because it's super important when you're trying to build your brand. Like, going live is a really great way to do that and help boost your posts and things. And so a lot of times people are like, I have no idea what to do or what to talk about. I'm so nervous to go live, blah, blah, blah. But like, here's the thing. People don't know what we know. Like, we could go on and literally talk about anything, and to us what seems like the most insignificant thing or product or tip or whatever. Think about the questions people ask you in your chair. How do you curl your hair like that? I mean, the simplest things that is just second nature to us, if we go on and talk about it, somebody is watching and they're going to be like, wow, I didn't know that, or that's so cool, right? Like, isn't it interesting to you, like, if someone's on there talking about how to style your hair this way or what products you can use to do this, like, you're going to stop and watch that.
Well, and think about it. You do it yourself with other people that have different expertise than you, because I do the exact same thing. Things that come naturally to me, I teach other people. So I had to flip my mindset back in the day to remember that what I know, other people don't know.
Right.
And what I'm trying to do is educate them on that. So I watch makeup tutorials, hair tutorials, over and over again. Like, I'll watch live streams to learn how to curl my hair, like 100%. If I wanted
to save and go back to it later.
100%, yeah.
Okay, so this is a big one. Everyone wants to know this. What would you think if your hairdresser raised her prices?
Oh, she does.
$5, $10.
Oh, she does. She, like, steps up in her ranking or whatever. So, I mean, I don't think anything of it, because she performs a really good service. I would say that if I wasn't feeling like I was getting handled properly, I couldn't get in for an appointment, or she wasn't basically giving me what I wanted, I might think twice about it. Yeah. I might question it, but I've never been like,
if you have someone that
freaking
loves your
kidding
hair,
me?
you're not going to leave them over $5 or $10.
Absolutely
period.
not. If somebody, like, she gives me exactly what I want every time. I mean, there's been a couple of times, you know, where I'm like, oh my god, it's too long. Especially
Right.
since the extension sometimes it's like, feels like my hair weighs 500 pounds. And I'll, like, the next day I'm like, you gotta cut it more. But that's me, more so than anything. But anyway, like, when she's done it, I kind of mentioned this to you, she's never really said it to me. It's more so she's, like, put it on her mirror, where, like, as of this date, the prices are increasing, and I noticed it, and I'm sure if I would have questioned it, she would have explained further, but I didn't. I feel like, to me, that's a more respectful way of having the conversation. I think it's a little awkward, probably, if she was been
to
like...
sit down and tell every client you're raising your prices $5. Like,
yeah, it might be a little uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So I think that that's a really great way of doing it, because that way I was informed, but I didn't feel like awkward.
and so this is a one you would have to have a conversation with, but how would you feel? Because I've done this, so hopefully you're not like, oh, don't do this ever. No, but all of my clients were fine with it. I actually started when I switched to the product line I use, and I came across this new treatment that you put into, it's a bonding treatment, it's called Niflex. You put it in the color or into the bleach, and it not only prevents damage from the bleach, but it repairs damage that's already there. So you can do a full head of bleaching someone's hair, and it feels like silk afterwards. It's better than before. It sparkles, it makes the color last longer. I could go on and on and on. But I used it, and I just was like, you know what, I don't ever want to do a hair service without this, because it's the best thing for the hair, and people are going to have a completely different head of hair after using this, especially after using it long term. So I went to including in all of my color services. My prices went up $30, but I sat down with each client beforehand and I explained to them why, you know, what this treatment does, that it's just the best thing for the hair and the best thing for the integrity of the hair, what they're getting out of it. And before I could even get to the part, because I was going to get to everybody free the first time, just so they could see the difference, because I genuinely believed. But before I could even get to that point, every single person except one was like, okay, great. Like, so it was because of my motive, and it wasn't just about making more money. It was about that this is really the best thing for the hair, and I don't want anyone to ever go without this. So that was a really long roundabout way to ask, how would you feel if your hairdresser was like, look, I'm including this from now on, prices are going up $30 or $20 or whatever it is, but this is what you're getting. Yeah.
I definitely would be fine with that, especially because here's the deal. Basically, if somebody's coming to you for you to dye their hair, they give a shit about their hair. Sorry if anybody is offended by cursing. I can't help myself sometimes. And so basically they care. And so if you're going to tell me that what you're going to put on my hair is going to make it better and protect it more, then I'm 100% in for that. Like, I'm going to trust you as the professional. I can give you an example. There was a time period during the summer where my red was lighter and I had blonde extensions like peeking out, and it was super cute. And during that time frame, we liked the way it was lightening naturally. So instead of dyeing the ends every single time, we would do my roots and like blend here, and then she would put a full over gloss on my hair, and it would literally bounce it back to life. Same situation. She's like, hey, I can do that, but it's going to be this price versus blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, cool, totally fine. That was your suggestion. That's what you said was the best option for me. And then afterwards, like you said, you can see the difference. So that's the other thing. Like, if your motives are correct and what you're adding on is actually benefiting that person and they see it, then they're not going to they're going to be excited about that.
Exactly.
Not unhappy.
Yeah.
Real quick, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
So Stacy, that's a really great way of looking at that, because that's how I look at it. It's not like I'm just paying, it's not a $50 a day,
right,
expense. It's definitely more of like, for prime example, my hair extensions, right? Like, I literally break down that cost per month. And then that's what makes it a little bit more like less of a blow for me and a little bit more understandable. But I think a lot of people probably look at it that way. So that's a really great point. And it's for those of you
you're paying for the style over 5 weeks. You're not paying for it. The haircut isn't in for one day. It's for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks. However long you go.
However many days that is, we can do the math.
Right. Yeah. And this is gonna trail off that a little bit, but and I know how you feel about this, but a lot of things that stylists do is they'll say, okay, it's this price for your highlight. If you want a toner, it's this much. If you want the bonding treatment, it's this much. And the client is like, okay, well, I guess just give me the first thing because obviously I don't need the other two things if you're giving me the option. When in reality, you know their hair is not going to get the result they want if you don't include everything in it. Like when they bring you that Pinterest picture, they've done the toner, they've done the treatments, they've done God knows what else. They've done the whole thing. So if you give to your client and you lay it out and you give them the choice of things, they don't know that they don't need it all. They're going to think all the other things are optional and just give me the highlight, you know? And so I was talking with Jamie about this, like, well, you can tell how you feel about that.
Yeah.
What if I was like, hey, you can get the highlight, you can get these things too with it. You would be like, I don't know, what do I need?
Well, so a couple things popped into my head actually that I didn't even think about when we talked about it initially. I have even a great example of this because for me, to be honest with you guys, I mean, I've been getting my hair dyed since I was 15, and I'm 30, so that's 15 years. For those of you who can't do that,
Right.
Jesus, hello. So for 15 years, I've been going to a stylist and getting it colored, and I've never one time had somebody offer it to me that way. I wouldn't even know what to say, honestly. They've been like, you want this? Perfect. Like, here's the price. This is,
Right.
I'm going to do all these things.
These
Here's
are all the
price
things you need to get it.
get
You
it
don't
there.
get to choose to not get them
No.
all.
And it's never been offered me that way. First of all, like, I get overwhelmed by that. I don't do math in my head. Like, I'm just not that person. I'm like, what do I need? Just tell me what I need.
Right.
Most people, that's what they want from you. They're coming to you because you're a professional. An example popped into my head about this where a friend of mine, well, my cousin actually, price is an issue for her. So that's why I thought I should give this as an example.
Yeah.
So price definitely is a concern for her. And I'm not saying, oh, if Sam said, Jamie, I'm going to charge you $700 to do your hair, I'd be like, okay.
Right.
That's not what I mean. But like, she wanted to save money. But she had brought a picture into someone, and they did that to her at the salon. They said, well, we can do this, this, and this, or we can do this, this, and this. She had gray coverage that she was trying to cover too. And basically the woman allowed her to pick. What she picked didn't cover the gray. It just
that was
basically
her most important part.
Exactly. It basically added highlights in, so it was doing part of the service, but not the part that she really wanted to be covering. And so she walked out, called me, bawling in tears, and was like, I don't know what to do, like, and basically never went back to that person again. I broke down the details and figured out what happened and tried to explain it to her, and the woman and her didn't have a great conversation afterwards, so she never went back. But, like, that's the example of kind of what happens when you allow someone to pick because they don't know. We
So
don't
just
know.
be upfront with them in the beginning and let them know, like, if it's out of their price range, then give them other options and be sure you explain to them, look, like, this is a bigger, you know, that look that you're wanting is a more expensive service. This is why. If, you know, and if that's out of their price range, give them some other options. You don't have to do whatever they want at whatever price they want, but you do have to make sure that you're both on the same page about what it is, you know, because that's on you. If you're the professional, if they leave feeling like that, that's the stylist's fault. That's not the client's fault. They don't know.
No, she definitely had no idea, and like she had just started getting her hair dyed. Like it was like the second time ever, so she had no idea, and it was kind of crap. It was really crappy actually. I was like, I don't know what to do for you.
Okay, so this was a question from the group. How much is too much increase? Is there a threshold? What extras would you like added with an increase?
Well, I would say, so every time that I've seen an increase with my current stylist, it's been like a percentage, and it's, God, I can't even remember. It hasn't,
10%?
I mean, maybe, like it hasn't been
Not a lot.
huge difference. Like,
But it's probably every year, a little bit every year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, there was a couple times she got promoted like 2 times in the same year or whatever, and she was like, oh my God, I know what it feels like. And I'm like, no, it's totally fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. But it's still not outrageous by any means. And like I said, like I'm still getting the quality, I'm still getting the end result that I'm asking for. So it's not out of range as far as I'm concerned. Like price goes up everywhere, every year. Like that's normal. You know, my services go up every year. You know, the cost of a piece of bread goes up every year. You know what I mean? Like that's just normal for me. And I think your normal logical human will get that. What was it? What other extras?
What extras would you like added with an increase?
So I definitely think anything that you feel, in your professional opinion, is going to make my hair healthier or better, or like say,
Can I interject here?
Yeah.
So I think if it's just an increase of like a few dollars, You don't have to justify that by adding more
No,
service. You're
agreed.
just giving yourself a raise because it's time to raise your prices, right? Like, I did that one jump because I wanted to completely flip how I was running my whole business, so that requires a radical change. And I decided I was okay with losing anyone that I lost because it was such a big jump, because this was what I wanted to do from now on. It happened, I didn't lose one person. It was amazing. But now, since then, like, I just raised my prices and it was $5. So if I'm raising my prices $5, I don't need to justify that with any extra treatments, because it's just time to raise my prices. You know, it's not, you don't have to write this big long paragraph about cost of color or cost of rent or justify it. Like, no, I'm raising my prices because I'm worth it.
Because I'm raising my prices. Like, you don't need to justify it to anybody. If you have a product, like you mentioned before, and this is me turning into business coach for a second, so sorry.
But you
don't need to justify yourself at all, first of all. And second of all, if you have a product like you were talking about before, this new product you found which you believe was better for all of your clients' hair, adding that in as an addition that created an increase, that's different.
Yeah.
You know, then you can explain it.
Yeah.
But if it's just like an overall, you know, it's time for me to increase my prices kind of thing, then that's a totally different story. You don't need to justify. Here's a question for you around this topic.
Would you do a price increase across the board, or maybe on a few things? Across the board.
Makes it a lot less complicated.
The only thing I don't increase are things like my additional color charge, because that button I can just hit however many times I need for that person. You know what I mean? Like, the few things that are just like my additional color charge is $26. So if I need to charge more than that for the color, or for the additional color, I will, but it's not like that's going up across the board. But like for my base services, haircuts, highlights, color, like that all goes up across the board.
Sweet. I like
Sorry,
it.
I took that one
no,
from you.
You're good. That's good. Well, I answered my part.
Right, yeah. Okay.
I'm social mediaing, guys.
Oh yeah, she's got to do her thing. What is a turnoff to you as a client?
Turn off? Oh boy.
Yeah. And this pertains to, okay, so when I wrote that, I was thinking as far as social media, like what posts would be a turn off to you, but also someone did ask what bothers you most about your appointment, and what's your number one complaint. So.
Okay, well, I'll go with social media first. I would say the biggest thing with social media is basically just like care about what you're posting. Like, take a little bit of pride in what you're putting out there. You can tell if somebody just slapped something together and could give two shits less, basically. So
this is your business. This isn't an afterthought.
No.
Your posts are your business.
100%. My posts are my business. That's what I do for a living. So I wouldn't have a company if it wasn't for me taking that seriously. And it's become a thing. I mean, honestly, it's become a part of most people's businesses. But basically, like, I would be turned off if it looks like you basically could care less. I would be like, okay, well, I certainly don't want you to touch my head. Like,
right.
You know, if there's no capitalization and you just, like, threw up a word or something, I'd rather you just put a photo with no words than, like,
everything's spelled wrong and no periods.
Right, and put no effort into the text you're putting in it.
Right.
That would definitely be a turn off to me. I can't really think of anything else social media-wise.
I want to say something about that too, because this really is, like, it is so important. Like, people think, oh, you know, it's just about the visual, it's just about the pictures. It's not. Like, it is about you presenting yourself as a professional. And when you post and every other word is spelled wrong and nothing's capitalized and there are no periods, like, that makes you look uneducated, and it makes you look kind of like an idiot. Like, I'm gonna be honest.
It makes you just look like you don't care, more so than anything to me. Like, because we all have that little red line on our phone. You can hit it and update your stuff. I mean, you know what I mean? Or your computer, like, it tells you when something's misspelled. So it's a matter of just taking a second. It takes literally 30 seconds to give a little bit more of effort into that. Like I said, I'd rather you just post a photo with no text all day long. You know what I mean? Than something that's just like not, you put no effort into, basically.
Yeah.
As far as in the chair, what was it? So,
what bothers you most about your appointment? What do you enjoy the most, and what's your number one complaint?
Oh, what do I enjoy the most is definitely, there's a couple of things. One, I love the moment when my hair's processing and I'm left alone for 20 minutes. I freaking love that. I don't ever get left alone for any time ever. And so it's really nice that I have like 20 to 30 minutes of like just me. I bring my iPad, I put my headphones in, I'm like working, or sometimes I read a book, but it's like a really great 30-minute window. I do enjoy the fact that, like, I always get offered, do you want something to drink? Do you want water? Like, I do like that because sometimes I do. Like, sometimes I don't, but sometimes I do.
Right.
And then obviously getting it, you know, dried and curled is always
Someone else
nice.
styling your hair,
Like, it's definitely
that's the best part.
I remember there was somebody that I used to see years ago who she would kind of ask me, she's like, do you want me to dry your hair? And I'm like, really?
Yes, I want you to dry my hair.
Right? Like, is that a real freaking question? Like,
Right.
I'm sorry, what? Like, yes, I want you to dry my hair. Like, I've had a moment where I was running late or something, and so I was like, no, don't worry about it, I'm leaving. That's a totally different ballgame. But that definitely is one of my favorite parts.
She didn't want to dry your hair, and she was hoping you'd say no. That's what it was.
She was running late, and exactly. I know.
Yeah.
I'm not stupid.
Right.
I was like, yes, I want you to dry my hair.
And that's the thing too, like, and it's really easy because I actually had that situation yesterday. I was running behind. My first client had way more hair. It was a new client than I allowed for, and she was paying a lot of money for her hair. She was like, "Oh, it's okay. You know, you don't have to." I knew she wanted it. My next client was there. The real easy thing for me to do would have been like, "Okay, you know, send her out wet," because she knew that it was running behind because she had a lot of hair. Like, that would have been so easy for me to do, and I'd be lying if I said I didn't want to. But, one, I knew she wanted it. Nobody wants to walk out of the salon with wet hair, and it's just about, like, the experience. If they're spending that much money with you, that chick ended up spending $535 with me, by the way. She can get a freaking blow dry. But like, what kind of experience would that have been for her, for me to charge her that kind of money and for, you know, and not even get a blow dry in a style, like, and then, you know, I am apologetic to my next client. I ended up giving her, you know, a product to compensate for it. She was super nice and understanding, but like, the client in your chair is your priority, and they're paying just as much money, and like, they don't get slacked because the next person's there, and like, if it pushes you behind, it does suck, and sometimes, you know, you gotta let the next people know coming in that you're running behind. But like, I am a firm believer, and if someone is spending money with you, and like, you give them everything. And now, if she would have showed up 20 minutes late, that would have been a different story. She would have been getting a blow dry. I'm not running late if it's someone else's fault and they show up late. But her having more hair, like, that's not, you don't know. Like, yeah, exactly.
It's out of everyone's control, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think the cool thing about what you guys do that I love so much is that, like, you get to create whatever somebody wants. You know what I mean? And so, like, why would you not want to show them the end result? Like, that is the biggest part.
The thing is, you have to
the part where you spin around with the mirror, I'm like, yes,
yep.
Look at that hair.
Yes. And the thing is, like, you have to go above and beyond.
Oh, that's
you know,
a good question.
What?
Sarah.
No, I don't charge less. The blow dry is included. If they don't get it, I don't make less money. Basically, like, I don't, you know, like,
yeah, I wouldn't expect you to charge me less if you didn't blow dry it.
That is a personal decision, though. Some stylists have a price for style with blow dry or style without. I don't.
As in cut it and say, no, you don't have to dry it, not you asking. Oh.
No, that's the price. So the style is included. It's part of basically how I look at it as, you're paying me for the cut, the style is free. So if you don't want to get the style, that, you know, like, you don't have to, but it's included. Yeah.
That makes sense. I have one other thing for the other side question before you skip it.
Yeah, this one.
Yeah, this one.
Yeah.
I didn't want you to skip it on me before I forgot.
Which one?
About what bothers me about appointments, or like what would be my number one complaint. We talk about what I like.
Oh, yeah, okay. Hold on, I think there was one more thing I wanted to say. Oh, just about the experience and going above and beyond, because, like, that's what when people are spending their money with you, like, if you're not going above and beyond is, like, the baseline now. You know what I mean? Like, that's what people are expecting. And so, like, if they're leaving, I'll tell you what, clients that you think would never expect to leave you, they will leave you when they start feeling like they don't matter anymore. Like, the client that you're like, oh, it's fine, like, she understands, she doesn't care that I'm running late, like, I can just send her out without a blow dry. Like, it's like a relationship. Like, you make them feel unappreciated for long enough, they will leave you. Your most loyal clients will leave you.
Oh, yeah.
They feel like you're not putting the effort in the relationship anymore. Like, you're not taking them out anymore and whining and dining them anymore.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. If I felt like I was just basically like a done deal.
Right,
you know what I mean?
right. Jamie doesn't care.
Then, yeah, I probably wouldn't be super excited about that. So somebody asked, and I love this question, so what is your number one complaint, or what is something that bothers you about your experience behind the chair? Well, I wouldn't say, so no, there's not a lot that bothers me. I also have a really respectful hairstylist. Like, she's never, you know, like, answered her phone when we were there. I've never even seen Jessie's phone, actually. I don't even think she has it out. Like, I've never even seen, she does have, like, a smartwatch, so I know if every once in a while, like, I'll see her, like, touch her wrist, so I know something's going on, but she's never acknowledged it. I've never even seen her phone, except for when she's like, can I take a picture of your hair? Kind of.
Exactly, that's
usually it.
That's it.
But I did have experiences in the past with a stylist years ago where my biggest issue was, and I gave it a couple of chances because I was like, am I losing my mind or what? But basically, I was trying to grow out my hair. My hair's naturally, it's not super, super thin, but it's not thick. So, obviously, given the extensions. But I was trying to grow my hair out. I used to have that, like, that bob when it was, you know, super popular. And I would go to her and I'm like, I just want you to trim, like, a little bit. And I started going even more frequently. I'd ask, like, can I go more frequently? You can trim it more frequently so it grows faster, whatever. She basically didn't think that I needed to have long hair. I mean, I found this out later. Like, she thought I looked better with short hair, and so she would keep trimming my hair shorter and shorter and shorter. She was actually thinning my hair out at one point, too. Like, just blatantly not listening to what I was wanting. And, like, granted, if that wasn't possible, I would have been understanding of that. All she would have had to do was just...
so it's your hair. You don't have the right hair type for
right.
that.
All she would have had to do is say, hey, that's, like, not possible for this, or whatever. You know what I mean? That would be like me going in to somebody and saying, hey, can you make me blonde tomorrow? Or, like, right now in 5 minutes. Like, they'd be like, no. You know what I mean? Like, for example, my hair extensions are red. And so I went to Jessie and I was like, hey, I want them to be a little lighter. I'm thinking about this color. And she's like, well, we can order a lighter set of extensions next time, but I cannot lighten that up much. Like, we put a teeny bit of more red, but that's it. And so she flat out just told me that, and I'm like, okay, like, I don't know, I'm not the expert, she is. So in that situation, if that person would have just said, hey, like, your hair's more damaged, or this is what we need to do, whatever, I would have listened to her, but she didn't. She just basically did whatever she wanted, and then I was stuck with it.
Yeah, listen to your clients. And here's the thing, they want your opinion. So, like, if Jamie came into me and she was like, I want blue-black hair, I would probably be like, are you sure about that? And I would probably talk to her about the commitment of how that she's going to be stuck with that and how it may not be the best for her, but it, you know, for her coloring. But if she was like, nope, I'm doing it, I want black, I would do it. Like, but they also want your opinion if it's...
That's a great example because when I went red, my hair, I could find some pictures and show you guys, my hair used to be like fire engine red, like super mermaid style, and it goes through its moments. I kind of flip through the stages. Mm-hmm. That was a conversation we had. Like, do you understand that red is high maintenance? It bleeds, it does this, it does that. Like, and my hair is a little crazy and it doesn't bleed very much anymore, but it's like adapted to the red life. The like, red life lasts, right? But originally she did tell me that, and I was like, well, let's just try it. Let's see if if it fades, whatever, we'll go from there. But
but in the end, it's their hair. Like, don't do what you think is best. Do what they want. Like, if it's a real I have told clients before. She's blonde. She's a blonde anorexic. She came in and told me she wanted black hair. And I said, if in 3 days you still want black hair, I will do it.
Yeah, that's a
3
great
days
point.
later, she did not want black hair. So I was glad that I told her no. But again, like, it's rare that I knew her. But so that's just my point, is like, make sure that they understand what they're asking for. And if they still want to do it, whatever, let them do it. And if they hate it, then you've warned them and it's not a free redo. Do you charge more for more length of hair? I forgot to ask. So, personally, for me, if it's a cut, no, a cut price is a cut price. If I don't say like, okay, because you have long hair, I'm charging you more for color, but I charge for each extra bulb that I use. So by default, yes, if they have long hair, I'm probably charging more for color. But if they have long hair, but it's really thin, not necessarily. Like, I might charge someone with shorter, thick hair because I use more color than someone with longer, thin hair. So for me, this is my base price for this service. This is how much color it includes, and then it's $26 per extra 30 grams of color. And that's just how that way you have a formula. It's set. It's not based on your emotion. It's not based on anything other than this is how much product I use. And so when a client sits down and I give them a range, I tell them this is what it starts at, and then I usually tell them what it would cost for up to 2 extra bowls of color, unless I think I'm going to use more than that. Most of the time it falls right in the middle of what I quote them. But I always tell them the best case scenario, like it's not going to be more than this. And I tell them like the highest, if for some reason your hair does something crazy and it just sucks up all this color and I have to use more than I think, this could be, the price. And if they're not okay with that highest price, then we might talk about something else, because I can't guarantee that I might not need all that color. Don't like overshoot it on purpose, but just think about, okay, what's the best case scenario, what's the worst case scenario, and give them that range, because then you're all on the same page when you get started.
Sorry, I have disappeared for a second. My computer was dying, so I had to get the plug.
Oh, it's fine. I can.
I'm like, see ya.
I could talk all night by myself with no one even commenting, so it's fine. Blondorexic, Terry. I think I got that phrase from you, actually. What does it turn off to you as a client? Did we talk about that? Yeah. Would you have a problem with your hairdresser taking a client during your processing time?
Nope. I think she does every single time. Like I said, I also kind of enjoy my quiet time. But like, honestly, if she didn't take a client during my processing time, what would she be doing?
Sitting there.
Talking to me?
Yeah.
I don't want to do that.
Right?
Or that might be
hanging out in the back.
Might be a little awkward. Right. Or she would go to the back. Absolutely. There's been
not make money.
Right. There's definitely been times where I think she has just gone to the back, and maybe it's like a busy day and she takes lunch or whatever, which is fine.
Right.
But I would say 9 times out of 10 she puts someone else's hair, or she either does a cut or she goes and does, color or whatever on someone else's hair. But she usually tells me, which I kind of like, though. Like she'll usually say, hey, I have a cut while you're processing. It'll be 30 minutes. And if she has an assistant, so if she's not going to be the one to rinse my hair, she'll tell me that too. Like, so-and-so will come get you in 30 minutes. I'm like, cool. So then I'm informed. There's no issue. I'm not like, where's Jessie? Like,
right.
Right?
Yeah. Sarah asks, do you charge more if it takes you longer to cut someone's hair than your normal time? There's no, me personally, no, because I mark out an hour for a haircut period no matter what, so that's always enough time for me to cut and style. I know some people do like half hour, 45, and an hour, and they'll do like, maybe the half hour doesn't include a style, the 45 minutes. So I think if you are going to do that sort of pricing, then yes, it makes sense to charge. I would not say like men's cuts or women's cuts, because it's what's the difference between a really short woman's cut or a man's cut? Like, why is she paying more for that? So if you are going to do that, like, base it on time, and a 30-minute cut, a 45-minute cut, or an hour cut, and you are the one that determines that, not the client. They don't sign up for a 30-minute haircut wanting to pay, like, you determine what sort of haircut they need. But me personally, I just leave an hour. I mark out an hour, and then my price is the same no matter what they get, or no matter what the cut is.
Oh, that's funny, Stacy. Her clients have exchanged numbers and want a pre-book to hang out together.
Shut up. That's so funny.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. Can you address the pricing on men's cuts versus women cuts? I think I did. Is there a delay on that? Terry, is there anything else you want me to talk about with that? Yeah, and especially too, like, even just on, the whole, like, you don't want to offend anyone with, like, the gender-specific pricing, period, like, and I know Terry's had that before where, because Terry does a lot of, she has a big men's clientele, and then she did have a woman ask her at one point, well, what's the difference? And that was kind of like an eye-opener for both of us, like, yeah, if you're getting, like, a really short buzz cut and you're a woman, why are you paying more just because of your gender? Or, like, just because, I think, you don't identify as a woman. Like, there are so many, what's the word? Like, I don't know. I don't want to offend. Yeah, I don't want to offend anyone. But that's the thing. Like, you just don't base it on their gender. Base it on their haircut and the amount of time.
And a lot of guys these days are getting really freaking complicated haircuts. Like, I know a lot of dudes who have, like, really complicated. Their hair's not super long, but it's, like, super complicated. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
And that's the thing too. Like, it would take me way longer to do one of those haircuts than it would to do, like, a trim on someone with my hair. So just because they're a man doesn't mean their haircut is less complicated. And if it takes you a friggin' hour, because it would take me an hour, I don't do men's hair because for that reason, like, I don't do those types of haircuts. But yeah, so I think it makes sense to base it on that and not, like, the gender, for sure.
So yeah, you answered that. You're good.
Okay, perfect. What do you look for in a hairdresser?
I would say basically somebody who's easy to talk to, listens to me, asks the right questions. What I mean by ask the right questions is, like, where do you want your hair to lay, basically, is one of the biggest things for me. What's your biggest concern with your hair? What are you looking for? Like, that sort of thing. And then lots of example. So I remember there was a time in my life, believe this or not, where I did not feel comfortable asking for what I wanted. I would just kind of take what people, like what was your normal. And so I always appreciated when somebody would bring out like the swatches, you know, because I felt like I was bothering them or asking them to do more work or whatever to go get it. And so I just wouldn't ask. So when somebody just goes and grabs that, when we're talking about color, and they're able to hold it up to my head and they just go automatically go, like I appreciate that. As far as like choosing a brand new person, I've always honestly done a lot of word of mouth. I think that that's big. Like for example, if I was to see somebody on social media, I would look and see who else I know that likes their stuff. And I'd be like, all right, tell me, like, give me the scoop. Like, do you go to her? What's the deal? You know, definitely. That's how I would go about it as far as like social media wise. I don't even think so.
Okay. So, yeah, that pretty much was it. That's all I had, but I would love to hear any questions that maybe have spurred from any of you during this conversation. What is going on out there?
Oh my god, it's the story of my life. If you guys can hear my neighbors, Jesus Christ. It's like constant.
Is that the most updated?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's why I kept scrolling down. I thought it was going the other way. Like, why does she have it all the way up?
It's, no, he's working on his truck or building something all of the time.
Oh, okay.
It's every day, all day.
Sounds like an annoying neighbor.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you can think about?
That's what I was sitting here kind of thinking.
How about cancellation policies? How do you feel about those?
I don't ever cancel.
Right? Thank you.
I have never canceled a haircut,
so
ever.
would it turn you off if your hairstylist had a cancellation policy?
No.
That's the thing. If you have a cancellation policy and it scares someone away, they planned on canceling and you didn't want them anyways.
Well, realistically, so say I had an emergency. That's always everybody's go-to, right? You have an emergency. If I had an emergency and I needed to cancel last minute, like I would fully expect the doctor, the chiropractor, my massage therapist, my hairstylist, any of those people that I pay a service to that is then missing out on money because I took up that spot, I would expect them to charge me. End of story.
Yeah.
Like I truly just would.
And then on the flip side of that, if it truly is an emergency and it's a good client of mine, I'm not going to charge them.
Yeah, that's your decision.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But then you have the option. And because I know a lot of people are scared to implement a policy like that. And the thing is, you just heard it yourself. If it's someone that's serious, that's not going to scare them away. If it does, it's not someone you wanted because they were planning on, or they at least wanted the option to, not show up.
Right.
Or, you know, do something else during that time.
I think the only thing that ever happens is like, occasionally, you know, I'll need to come in sooner. Like maybe my hair grew super fast that like month or something, which it does sometimes.
Yeah.
Or whatever, and I'll just get a hold of her and say, hey, is there a way we can move it up? And if there's not, I'm understanding of that. If she's not available, and she's always good and moves around a lot of stuff for me and that, but like if it's not available, like I get that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Everybody has a business they're running.
Well, and someone just said, we need 900 clients like you. I know. Well, here's the thing, though. All of my clients are like this now. They weren't always, but it's about what you accept and expect and allow, you know, in your chair. And I've weeded out all the clients that don't respect me.
That's a great question from Bree. Finish what you
Yeah,
said.
that's it. Like, it is possible to have a clientele full of this because I do. And
well, yeah, it is. It's possible to have a clientele full of this.
Right.
I had to switch my shit, too.
Yeah.
From whiny people who didn't want to do anything and drove me crazy to people who actually take action and do the things that we talk about. Yeah, high five. So basically, you just have to set that standard. There are ways to do it. And it truly does shift. I do believe that.
Feelings on being alone in a room with just a stylist, such as the lofts, or being in a busy salon with a lot of stylists and clients around.
So I think I like both. I think there are good points to both. I work from home and I'm on the phone all day basically with clients, so kind of like what I had said before when I really enjoyed like that 20 minutes of quiet. There was also hustle and bustle going around me, which I enjoy. In the what's it freaking called? Hello. In the salon. Thank you, Jesus. And, but for example, the woman that I go to, I have a massage therapist that is in her own building. It's just her. There's no one else there. I have the woman who does my spray tan. It's the same situation. So it's that similar. I can kind of, and it's not that I don't like it. It's not that at all. It's definitely, I feel like, it's almost like, you know, like you were talking about a relationship. You get to that point in a relationship where, like, you're okay with the silence, kind of. I feel like it's sort of the same thing. Sometimes I chat the whole time, and sometimes I don't. But it's kind of nice on the times that I don't want to chat the whole time to be in a quiet room.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm okay with that.
Yeah. And I think, if I can interject on that question, too, it's more about, like, you're going to go with your stylist wherever she goes because you like how she does your hair. So it's not necessarily about where you are. It's about you.
Truth. Agreed. If Jessie left her salon tomorrow and went anywhere, I'd go with her. Yeah. Basically, as long as it wasn't, like, you know, hours away.
Right, exactly.
But yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree. That was a really good question.
Yeah, it was. And the thing, too, with being alone in a room, what's cool about it, because that was, Brie, one of the things I was nervous about when I left my salon, because I'd never been in an environment like that before, and, like, I was scared to have my own room, and am I going to be lonely, am I going to be bored, you know, all of those things, but it's not like that at all. It can be, if you want privacy, you can close your door, and it can be just you and your client, or if you leave it open, it's such a community. Like, we're always, if our doors are open, we're back and forth in each other's lofts all the time. Like, I'm always going and sitting in somebody else's loft if I have a minute, but honestly, you really don't, because you're only there if you have clients, so you're never, like, sitting in your room by yourself twiddling your thumbs because you wouldn't book you know, like, you wouldn't be there if that was the case. And usually I have 2 clients in there at once, so it's not that by yourself feeling. And like I said, people are in and out of the lofts all the time, so it's not as much of an isolated feeling as you're probably worried about, unless you close the door and that's something that you want. Then you can have that privacy as well.
That's a good point.
What would you do if you had a client who was one of your best clients, to the point she was at your wedding, your baby shower, like that, and she booked an appointment with you, and then the same day she booked it, text you, canceled, saying she was going somewhere else? What would you say to her, or what would you do? I'm confused by the situation.
I'll let you answer that first.
Okay. I would say, first of all, it's tough, because with what we do, it's hard, because we do make relationships with people, and so when something like that happens, it does sting, because it is, you do build relationships with them, and it gets personal. But first and foremost, like, they're there for you to do their hair, and, like, I know we feel like it does go so much deeper than that. But at the end of the day, if there's something they're unhappy with their service or their experience, like, they're not going to stay with you forever. Like, that, the relationship won't be enough to keep them, is what I'm getting at. And I'm not saying you did anything wrong or there's any reason that you did why she left you, but I am saying the relationship relationship alone is not enough to keep someone in your chair. So I don't know, it depends. I'm torn. Honestly, what I would say was, I would tell her that, you know, I completely understand. Thanks for your support, and I'm always here if you need me. I would leave it on a note letting her know that she can always come back to me, because I don't want to lose that person as a client.
Or a friend.
Or a friend, yeah. Or if you feel comfortable, I don't know, how would you feel? Like, should she ask her why? I don't know.
Well, I was thinking about that, because, like, for example, I mean, I become friends with my clients. It just happens. I mean, my coaches are my friends at this point, so I get that, and so it's an odd situation. And
it's hard, yeah.
Yeah, and I could definitely feel that being a little bit of a sting, but I also think that as long as, and, like, I'm not saying that you need to, like, tell us this, but you know if you've treated her properly, and if you have, then I wouldn't take it personally. It's not about you. Yeah. It's not about you. There could be a million reasons why.
Because here's the thing, too. People like to try new things. Like, if she saw a picture on Instagram that she really liked, that could have been enough. Like, some people are really loyal, and some people that you think are really loyal, aren't.
Truth.
And so, like, it may not have anything to do with you. People just like change sometimes. They like to try new things. So, it could be that. It could be...
Someone could have been...
She could have been unhappy for a while.
Something.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
and the thing is, too, like we said, it is a relationship. She could have been unhappy for a while and not spoke up about it, and then finally decided to try something else.
And so that's the true thing. So this is how I'm going to get a little deep with you really quickly.
Yeah, do it.
So, here we go. People are suck at communicating. Okay, so if someone isn't happy about, this is literally, I'm going to give you a scenario. I have a client of mine who he has a personal trainer, and he was complaining to me about their relationship and the way, what he was getting out of his training. He was very unhappy and like all this stuff. And I was like, well, did you talk to him about it? He's like, no. I'm like, what? He goes, well, no, that's rude. I'm like, how is it rude to just say, hey, dude, like, I'm not loving this. This is what I'm looking for instead. Or just asking a question. I said, that's not rude at all. Like, you're paying someone for a service. Like, why would you not ask them? So I would definitely say that, I mean, who knows? That could be the situation. And maybe she was just uncomfortable talking to you about it. Because, and that has nothing to do with you. That has everything to do with her. Because that's how people are, unfortunately. It's shitty, 100%.
Yeah.
It's definitely, yeah, Jessica. It's happened to me. I mean, I think it's probably happened to everybody. It's weird, and you may never know why. I definitely wouldn't take it personal, and I would probably do what Sam did. Especially right now, I would probably just be like, okay, I totally understand. Like, if you ever need me, let me know. I appreciate you, or whatever. And then maybe later on, when you see her, ask her. You know, when you're not stung, because when it stings, sometimes what we say may come out differently in the moment. So if you give it a minute, a little bit of time, you know, to not be so fresh, you can ask her, like, hey, if you don't mind, like, I'd really love to know what happened. Like, why did you go somewhere else? Again, it may not have anything to do with you. It probably doesn't.
Yeah. And here's the thing, too. I think if you asked her right now, it would make her uncomfortable because she probably would have told you why in the initial text if she wanted to talk about it or if she wanted to tell you. So I think, like, if you ask her that, you're probably squashing the chance that she'll ever come back to you because she'll feel uncomfortable. If you keep it, at this point, you determine the direction of the relationship. And so if you keep it professional and you let her know, like, yeah, no problem. Like, I'm always here. Feel free to contact me if you ever, need, if I can ever help you out or anything like that. If you set that tone, then that is the tone that it will be left at, and she will probably feel comfortable coming back to you someday. I've had clients leave and come back because of the way I handled it when they left. But I think if I would have taken it personally and handled emotionally, it for sure would have squandered them coming back because that's awkward.
Well, and true, there's always still a point where, she can still refer people to you, like, at this point and all of that. I mean, there are people that used to do like, Becky's a prime example. It's not like I was like, hey, Becky, I'm breaking up with you.
Right.
I'm talking about Becky, her sister, that used to do my hair. It's not like, okay, I'm breaking up with you. She moved and our schedules didn't work anymore and it didn't work anymore. But I still have referred people to her because she was an amazing hairstylist. I honestly haven't talked to her since she did my hair. There's no hard feelings there,
Yeah.
I think she's awesome. So it's definitely, I definitely wouldn't take it too personally, although I know it feels hard to do. It's easier said than done. It just kind of comes with the territory, though, I think, when you do serve it. Like,
yeah, it does. And at the end of the day, even though we do get personal, like, you also have to realize, like, you get to know these people, but it's not personal. Like, it is still, at the end of the day, it is a business. You're providing them a service, and they have the right to go anywhere and do anything they want with their hair. So, like, it's awesome and amazing, and we so appreciate when they come to us. But at the end of the day, like, we don't own them, and they're free to do whatever they want. And so if they choose to leave, that's okay too. It's not a reflection on you,
Ooh, so now I have a really great way to spin this, though. So for all though, that's opening a space. And, like, honestly, the way
I was thinking that.
Yeah,
I know what
like,
you're going to say.
energetically, especially, like, the way I see it is the way that you handle this is really big, because if you handle it super emotionally and whatever, first of all, you don't want somebody to be running around telling people that, you're super emotional and they're not going to want to see you, like, come to you. But the other thing, too, is that's blocking. Like, it's bad. It's just a negative thing. So if you're just, like, you handle it gracefully, basically, that's opening a space for a new amazing client to come into your life, is how I would look at it. Bam.
And it's true. Right, Heather, write that in she just got the Law of Attraction planner. Write that in your planner where her appointment was, write new client down. You'll get one.
Seriously, it's so true. It's so true. I just saw myself do the bam.
Right? Replay.
Oh, boy. I'm animated. It's bad. All right, anybody else have any more questions? I love this.
I know, this is fun.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else.
Kitty says bam.
I'm a dork. It's fine. That's what happens when you live stream too much. You just, give it
right.
I don't care at all. It's a mess. I'm trying to think if there's anything else here, like, related.
I know, I am too. I'm like, if you left a stylist to try someone new, would it bother you if the stylist sent you miss you cards or salon info and events?
I wouldn't do a miss you card. I would do like you could do like a random saying, you know, those cute little cards that say like, hi, just saying hi, checking in, how are you? That kind of thing. I think that's okay, but like the miss you might come off to me a little weird.
Yeah.
Honestly. But I think that would be sweet. I personally, here's how old school I am. I personally utilize specific businesses that use that personal touch because I feel like it's so important. Like, there are certain huge companies that I use over other people because they write me personalized thank you notes. Mm-hmm. Like, if you were to send me just a hey, how are you, just checking in card, I would be like, oh my God, what a freaking sweetheart.
Yeah.
But I would wait a little while if I were you, if they left.
Don't send it tomorrow.
Yeah, don't send it tomorrow. But yeah, definitely, I think that's sweet. I think that's a great gesture, especially if you guys did have a friendship too. Mm-hmm. Like, I think that would be nice.
Yeah, maybe not with any sort of I don't know.
Not like a really deep-hearted, long, written out
text
in the middle. I'd be like, Jesus. But just
quick, hope you're doing well.
Yeah, like a super light, fun, but it's caring, and that means something to people. It really does. It truly does mean something to get that kind of stuff in the mail, especially in the mail.
That is what I meant, not a creepy miss you.
Miss you! I was like, oh God, don't send I miss you card. Jesus. No, I think that's really sweet.
With a picture of them outside their window.
I miss your hair.
No, I miss your hair.
I miss your hair. I think that's actually a really sweet idea, though, Heather. That's really good. I like that kind of stuff. For sure. Like, I'm a sucker for that. If I order something from someone and they send me a card, I'm like,
what else can I buy?
I am your customer for life. Like, I do that with my products. I write handwritten notes to everybody because of that.
Summer can't come soon enough. I can't wait to talk business.
I just can't wait for summer in general.
I know.
I'm excited.
I can't wait for my summer bod. I just signed up for
the
gym today.
Yeah, I'm going to lighten this dew. That's what I'm excited about. I'm over this darkness. I'm over the darkness. But anyway, shoot, I'm trying to think. So even for example, this is a great example. So when I was I think I want hair extensions. My stylist has hair extensions. She has for years. She's like, "You gonna do it? Are you gonna do it?" And I'm like, "I think I'm gonna do it." And I was like, she had told me the price a couple years before that, and I basically was like, "What's it up to now?" Because I obviously knew that it was raising, and she's like, "All right, this is what we're looking at." You know, and she was just really honest with me. She goes, bring me some pictures of what you want your hair to look like. And of course, I bring her these pictures of these big, full, awesome, Topanga hair.
Topanga. Wow, throwback.
Topanga hair was the shit. And so, she basically was like, okay, it's not going to be that thick. You need to calm down. And I was like, okay, what do you mean? And of course, my devastated, what? Right. And of course, right now it looks super drab, but it usually looks a little bit bigger and nicer than this. But so she basically pointed out a couple of the photos that I had. I was like, this is what we can create. This is this many bundles of hair. It's going to be about this time period, blah, 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 blah. And she was just super upfront with me. We had a really educated basically conversation. And it was nice because I was then able to make an educated decision, and now I'm addicted forever and it's really terrible, but I'm never gonna not have hair extensions.
Oh, I got one.
What?
We didn't talk about products at all. So a lot of stylists are afraid to talk to their clients about products because they don't want to seem pushy.
Okay, well, so I have a couple things to say about that. One, I've asked about a product that she's used because I like the way it smells, or I like the way it makes my hair look like that what's that dust stuff?
The powder stuff.
I'm
the
tap, tap,
stuff.
tap, tap. That stuff, I was like,
tap.
What is that stuff you're putting on my head? It's making it magnet.
You guys all know what she's talking about.
Yeah. She was like, oh, let me tell you.
Yeah.
So a lot of times I ask questions. One of my best friends goes to the same person, and she literally uses every single same product that Jessie uses. Mm-hmm. I don't, to be honest with you. There are specific products for specific things that I use, but she and I have discussed in detail what my hair needs and what I'm using, and if what I was using wasn't quality, I know that she would tell me hey, that's not, because at one point there wasn't. I haven't always been super good about that, but she's always brought it up. She's asked me if I'm happy with my product. That's one of the questions.
Yeah.
I think that's a great way to kind of introduce it. Instead of being like, you need 17 products, you could just be like, are you happy with what you're using? Or, hey, I noticed that you could use something to help with the dryness or whatever.
So, and here's what I do. I tell everything I use, from the shampoo down to the hairspray, every single product, I just tell them what I'm using and why I love it. And that's it. If it's something that they...
Like while you're doing it?
Yeah,
that's
like
smart.
this is the Be Longer shampoo. This is what it does. This is why I love it. Your hair's going to feel like silk. I don't ask them to buy it. I just tell them what I'm using every step of the way. And
That's
by
smart.
the end of it, they know what everything is, and then they can make the choice of what they want. If it is something that they absolutely need, like... okay, Jamie, your hair is trash. You need to buy this product today. I will tell them. Like, I'll tell them, look, you need to get this today if it's something they need. But I don't do that unless they really need it. So they trust me when I say you need this product. Every time I'm not like, you need the shampoo, you need the spray, you need this. But I do tell them. And when I tell them what it is, I use it on their hair. I set it right in front of them, facing with the label facing them so they can see what it is. And honestly, 90% of the time when I do that, if I don't start talking about what the product is, they'll say, "Ooh, what's that?"
Yeah.
So if you don't feel super comfortable initiating that conversation, put the product in front of them, and 9 times out of 10 they're going to ask because it's looking them in the face.
And because 9 times out of 10 we're all product junkies.
Exactly. That's the thing that and this is a story I want to share about yesterday. I was telling you this morning. This girl came in, like, don't let your preconceived notions or your judgments affect what you share with people. And by that I mean this client I had yesterday, she came in, she was a new client, she was a referral, she was awesome. She was young, she was a teacher, her husband was in school, she was their only income. And so in my head, obviously I'm thinking, okay, she doesn't have a lot of money to spend. And if I had let that stop me, like in the past, I would have let that stop me. I wouldn't have offered her everything I offered her. I wouldn't have told her about all the products I was using. Honestly, I just probably wouldn't have, because in my head I would think, oh, she's not going to buy it anyways. She spent $535. I didn't ask her to buy a single thing. At the end, she was like, what's this product? What's this one? I need this. I need this. I did not ask her to buy a single product. All I did was offer her, for one, well, I told her, what we need to do for her hair. Everything I offered her in addition to that, she took me up on, and I just told her about every product I was using. And then, honestly, I didn't expect her to buy any of it. In my head, I'm like, she's not going to buy it, but I can tell her about it, and maybe next time when she comes back, she'll save up for it. Like, this was the dialogue in my head. And then we went to check her out. She was like, okay, what were those 4 things you used on me? She bought 4 products, in addition to spending, like, $400 on her hair. So don't let your preconceived judgments about someone's financial situation determine what you offer them, because you don't know what they save up for. Like, people place different value in different things.
Oh, yeah.
She might have a savings account. I don't know, but I don't care where she got the money from. All I know is, like, she wanted to spend money on her hair. Yeah.
Right. And that goes along lines, too, with, like,
and that's with everything.
Doing the full, that is with everything, but doing the full service and making sure you're doing the style, because, like, imagine if you would have gotten finished with her early, and she would have seen the end result, she probably wouldn't have bought those products.
Exactly. Wow, way to tie that all around. I didn't even think about that.
That is the way my brain works.
This is why I need her, guys.
This is the way my brain works. It's pretty magical.
Do you expect your stylist to give you a discount or something on your birthday?
I never have had that. It would be cool, but I don't expect it. Like,
I would say, so if I can interject here on that one, I think it's really special to do something nice for people, like give them a gift, or if it's someone, like, I don't do it for every single client that has a birthday, but, like, if it's someone that I have a relationship with and we're close, I'll give them a product. I don't believe in discounting your services, but if you give them a product, like, that's a gift that they'll appreciate, and that's not affecting your income, what you're taking home that day. And that's something nice for them that they get to. How do you feel about that?
I mean, I get where she's coming from, because that's a big thing. A lot of people give a discount or, like, a coupon or whatever for your birthday.
Oh, I get what you're saying. Like
you get, like, a free bleh or whatever, or you get $10 off or something like that because it's your birthday. A lot of people do that. So, I mean, I'm obviously, hell yeah, who doesn't want that?
Right.
Do I expect that? No. Have I ever received that? No. Does your stylist send you a Christmas card? No, but I would love it if she did. I send Christmas cards to everyone. I send Christmas cards to all of my clients. Actually. And even after their...
Did I get a Christmas card?
No, we weren't working together, were we? Not yet?
We were.
Were we?
Oh, I feel gypped. I need a new coach.
Oh my god, I'm getting so many presents. It's not even
kidding,
funny.
I know.
I don't think I have your address, actually. Damn, look at that. Past clients, especially.
There we go.
But yeah, I don't have your address. Will Hill.
Okay, I get what you're saying with that. Yeah.
But yeah, she asked. So Angie asked the same question actually when we were talking about it. How do you feel about your stylist if she starts talking about herself and talking about her life? Does it annoy you when and if that happens? She doesn't, unless I ask. Honestly, and her and I've actually talked about this. So her and I have known each other for. I wouldn't do it either unless someone asks you, and then I would still keep it short.
And then direct it back to them because they want to talk about themselves.
Yeah, it's more so like I ask her about her kid and her husband or like how she's doing, you know, or whatever. But I've also known her since we were teenagers, and so I know her husband and her kid, you know what I mean? So it's a little different, but her and I actually talked about this before, and she was like, people don't want to talk about me, so I don't talk about me, I just listen. And I throw in my 2 cents where I feel like I can, and I just basically listen. But that's what most people want, honestly. So my suggestion to you is I wouldn't talk about my personal life with my clients. I personally don't talk about my personal life a ton with my clients. Like if I can use an example on something, but obviously I do something a little different. But it's not about me, it's about them.
I've had clients that come to me and that are like, I left my old stylist because she just would not stop talking about her dysfunctional life and her family and her crazy situations, and so people really don't want to hear it. Like, you can keep it surface and tell them a little bit about your life for sure.
If they ask.
Yeah,
I think you can give like I said, keep it kind of brief, but I definitely think that one thing that everyone needs to realize is like when I or most people go sit in that chair, it's like a break. You know what I mean? It's like a break from everything else. And so being able to kind of keep the conversations light, or obviously some people do want to talk to you about their heavy shit. That's different, but I would definitely not bring that stuff up because most people are sitting in that chair as like a relaxation thing.
And I'll be honest, like you'll notice this, most of the time when they're asking you those questions, it's out of politeness, but they really want to talk about themselves. Like, so like what I notice is like, you know, if someone asks me a question, I'll give like a brief, you know, short little answer, and then I'll ask them a similar question, and then they'll talk for 20 minutes. You know, so it's like they're asking out of obligation, but really, like, they don't really care, honestly. Like, to the point of where you're going to sit and...
Well, it's like therapy. I mean, it really is. Yeah. Trust me, I understand. But it's basically like a lot of people use that as a therapeutic place. Like, they're going to tell you everything. You guys know that, obviously. You know, one of my most... I feel really special, I guess I should say, about this, is when she remembers stuff, like, from before. And she's like, so how did that go? Or, you know, like, I was
really listening to them.
Yeah, you're actually paying attention is big. Like, I was taking a big trip that was, like, super transformative for me, and she remembered, like, I was leaving, like, a week before, or a week after we met. And so it had been 8 weeks, 9 weeks, and she was like, how was your trip? Tell me all about it. Well, like, that makes me, and maybe she doesn't really give a shit, that's fine, too, but, like, the fact that she remembered... that matters to me. And I think people notice that.
And that's the thing, too. Like, I get that a lot when when clients will come in and I'll ask them about something that was coming up at their last appointment. They'll be like, oh my gosh, you have a great memory. I can't believe you remembered that. Like, when you really pay attention to them and you remember those things, it means a lot to them. Mean a lot. So, like, that's honestly a big part of maintaining these relationships is really listening to them when they're talking to you and remembering the stuff that they're telling you, because it really does mean a lot to them, and it really will like surprise them when they come back 8 weeks later and you ask them about something that was going on at that time.
So Heather's next question, it's funny because you and I kind of had this conversation one time weeks ago on one of our calls where somebody kind of keeps digging to ask questions. They want to know more about your personal life. Most likely that person knows somebody that knows you.
They want the dirt.
They want the dirt. They want to listen to you talk shit, basically. Don't give it to them. Don't feed into that. You're better than that. That's not what they're there for. I definitely would keep it super short. I would continuously change the conversation. What did I tell you? The exact wording.
So we were talking about, we can use my specific example. I'm going through a divorce, and so now it's to the point where I waited until it was like, okay, now I really have to tell people because I didn't want to talk about it. And so now that people know when they come in, they want to ask about it. And, you know, most people, when I'm just like, oh, yeah, you know, I just give them a brief surface answer. It'll kind of let them know I don't want to talk about it. And most of the time, they switch the subject fine, but there are a few that literally keep asking, like,
Oh, yeah.
when you give them a surface answer, they ask a more detailed question and a more detailed question, and I finally asked her, like, how do I handle that? Like, I don't want to I don't want to talk about that, so...
Basically, you just repeat the same thing again. Like, if you gave them a short, like, surface answer, and they ask you the question again, you repeat exactly what you said the first time again, in almost like a matter-of-fact kind of fashion, and then you can change the subject, and they'll usually let it go at that point.
But I did have one that didn't, so what was your response when she doesn't do that the second time? I think you told me it's all in your tone, like, you say it
It's
again.
all in your tone.
Yeah.
100%. So, little, like... My ex-boyfriend is a professional hockey player, and so everybody in the town knew him, and it was a big deal, and my life is very public for my business, and so I still get lots of deep, digging, ask questions about our relationship, and our relationship is very weird. Like, we lived together, and then we broke up, or we lived together, I moved out, we stayed together, we didn't break up. It was like, everybody was all confused, right? Mm-hmm. So many deep questions, and people basically hounding me about it, and that's exactly how I would handle it. I would be like, I'm sorry, I don't understand. You know, or people like, what? I'm like, we're fine, things are fine. And I would just change the subject. They're like, oh, okay. Or they'd say, like, I don't understand what's going on. Okay, I don't understand your question. Yeah, we're good. Anyway, and then I just keep talking. And people are like, isn't that rude? I'm like, it is maybe, but if you keep talking and then you keep your tone really happy and you ask them about themselves, like, you're not being rude, but you're making it very clear that, like, I'm not having this conversation with you. Yeah. Because you don't have to. And you shouldn't, as far as I'm concerned. And I'll say, enough about me. that's actually a really good, like, enough about me.
Yeah.
But don't feel rude. Don't feel rude for saying that. I think that's actually a great way to transition from it, honestly.
Yeah, it is.
Enough about me. Tell me about your dog.
Right.
Or your kids, or your whatever. Yeah. That's funny. That's good.
Yeah, that is a nice way to say it.
Yeah, that is a great way to say it. Enough about me. Let's change the damn
Let's talk about anything else. Literally anything.
Thank you, exactly. So we can talk about politics, for God's fucking sake.
Right.
Instead of this conversation. That's a good way to do it. I can only imagine the kind of stuff that you guys have to hear.
Oh, girl. It's a lot.
Funny.
Top three things you look for in a stylist if you were new to the area and needed to find one.
I would definitely look them up on social media. I would tell you, like, honestly, I would look them up on social media. I would look at their...
Which means you would have to have a business page for her to find you if she was new to the area. Like, she's not going to find you from your personal page.
It's true. I'm going to search the area and hairstylist, basically, and then find people that catch my eye. In my area, so my other thing is basically I'd want to know where you're located. I'd want to know your hours. I'd probably like to see your prices. I don't necessarily think I care that much about your prices. But do you guys push getting people to review on your pages? Because I would read that.
Yeah, I do.
I would definitely read that.
It's definitely something that I coach people on.
Yeah, because I actually didn't remember if you mentioned that or not.
Yeah,
so that's why I asked.
Asking people to review. Mm-hmm, because people want to see that you have a lot of good reviews. Even if they don't sit and read them all, they want to see that you have a lot of good reviews.
So the other thing for me, like I kind of mentioned before, I'm big on word of mouth. Like, I always will ask my people, like, hey, I'm looking for blah, blah, blah. Does anybody have any suggestions? And people will tag them in a post, or they'll send me their information. I'm still always going to look at their social media, honestly. And this is just across the board. Like, I work with people in all walks of life, and I can tell you that this is mainly what most people do. Before I was coaching, I was helping people with their businesses online, because it's like I think it's like 83% of consumers look for new businesses to use through social media. So that would be a big thing, definitely. As long as your information is available to me, your location is clear, and how to get a hold of you is clear. Like, that would be, I'm not going to chase down how to freaking call you. Mm-hmm. You know, I probably would, at this point, I'd probably send you a message, honestly, other than calling initially. But it needs to be easy to access how to get a hold of you. Like, there's nothing more frustrating, and I will stop if I can't find your, how the hell do I call you?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
But so many people don't have that. They really don't.
Yeah.
So many people don't have their contact information clearly displayed, and so it's just they're missing out. So those would be the things for sure. You're going to help her do that on Saturday.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's huge. It really is. It's definitely, especially for having local clientele, like it's really big to have that set up. Those are really great questions.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think.
I know, I am too. I feel like we pretty much.
I think we've covered
we've
much.
covered a lot.
So the cool thing is too, guys, is that like if you think of anything else, and anybody who's watching the replay, if you think of any questions, feel free to pop them in. Obviously the group's going to stay up live, and it dings both of us when you comment, so we'll answer. Like Sam will probably give you an answer, and I'll give you an answer. So don't feel like because the live stream is over, you can't ask any questions.
Yeah.
Because that worked. Okay, one last question. I love it. If you called your stylist, how quickly do you expect her to respond, and at what point do you get frustrated? Well, that's a great question, because this has happened before. I'll be honest. Like, I panic a little bit sometimes. I am that girl. When my hair extensions get to a certain length, I'm like, we need to get this done now. Because we can't really schedule them because it depends on how my hair.
Right.
So she buys the hair, and then we it's kind of up in the air a little bit. So I get a little stressed out, and she knows it. She knows now. We don't do it anymore. But there was a point so I would say, for me, I wouldn't get mad at her or message her again. I expect response within 24 hours. That's what
I was gonna say.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't think it's wrong to. I don't know. I think 24 hours is good. It doesn't have to be quicker than that. Yeah.
No, it doesn't have to be quicker than that. I definitely also, if somebody sends you a text at 9 a.m., texting them back that day would be cool.
Right.
But if you can't, again, it's still understandable. But definitely within 24 hours, and quite honestly, that's really across the board for any kind of business. You should never make somebody wait for more than 24 hours.
Yeah, within 24 hours. I try to as soon as you can. If I can get back with them right away, I do. But I do, gosh, I've had people, call me, 3 times within,
that's
8-hour span. And I'm like, leave a message.
Right? Well, and so I will say, too, that one thing that she has done for me, which is nice, is she's like, hey, I'm at blah, blah, or hey, I'm busy. Can I get back with you later? Mm-hmm. Or I'm out of town, or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's I appreciate that, too. But definitely I would say 24 hours is your window. And I would just go by, if somebody's texting you at 6 o'clock at night, you do not have to respond to them right then and there. That's the other thing. I do believe from just a human being standpoint, you should not let people control your time that much. There's nothing wrong with you waiting until tomorrow morning to reply to them.
Yep.
That would be my client answer and my coach answer. I have 2. All right, cool.
All right.
I think we're good.
Yeah.
You guys are awesome. This was fun. Friggin' good thing we didn't use that one thing. It was gonna cut us off in 20 minutes.
Oh yeah.
We would have been screwed.
Yep.
Yeah, an hour and.
I had someone get upset with me because I called her back 7 hours later. I tried to explain to her that I was with clients and my phone wasn't available to me, and she got really angry. Well, that's not someone I want in my chair.
That is person has issues, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
People are. Again, you teach people how to treat you. I'm a firm believer of that, especially in a world that everybody wants instant gratification. I get it, but she's not going to die because you didn't call her back. The world is not ending. That's why I tell people all the time, is it an emergency? Because I don't think it really is. Nobody's going to die. Nobody's bleeding. And if they are, why are they calling you about their hair?
Right.
So I definitely think that's just my go-to when it comes to anything. Unless that is your occupation is you deal with people's emergencies.
Right.
Then there's nothing wrong with you teaching them that it's okay, basically. But, so here's the other thing. My question to you, Heather, would be, with that specific person in the past, have you replied to her right away? Because if every single time she's messaged you, you reply within, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 30 minutes, that's what you've taught her to expect from you. So then you wait this one time at 7 hours, she's like, well, what the hell? Why isn't she answering me? Mm-hmm. That's where that comes from. So it's actually probably a good thing to put some time in between. I do that myself with all my paying clients. I cannot stop what I'm doing all the time to answer. So they don't expect that from me because I've set it up that way, basically.
No, I think she's saying it was a new client.
Oh, okay.
Well.
Yeah, that's nonsense. That person, you did nothing wrong in that spot. That person's just being stupid. People suck sometimes, unfortunately. You gonna drop that bottle more or what?
I think so.
Just kidding.
One more time.
All right. Let's end this show.
Right.
We have curtains.
Thank you everyone for watching. Like she said, feel free to ask any questions, you know, on the replay if there's anything that comes up later, and we will be here to answer.
Yes. Thanks,
Have a good
guys.
night.
Bye.
Bye.